Hey Lore Masters, by request I'm going to be doing a review of the current crop of Forces of Destiny. You can catch these episodes on the Disney Channel linked below. But don't worry, the Ground Battle of Scarif and the Doctor Who Time War are coming up soon as well. But let's just get into it. So Forces of Destiny is a series of animated shorts that is proudly touting how it will be hosting strong female characters. Girl power, as it were. We'll get back to that. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome that they want to dedicate a series to strong female characters. I think people who are getting upset about it should probably relax, because you know what? The female characters in Forces of Destiny and in Star Wars overall are just freaking awesome. Padme, Rey, Ahsoka, and I'm sure there's others, but we can all agree it's Ahsoka that's the best. These characters aren't awesome because they're women. They're just really awesome people that are women. So the fact that we're going to see awesome characters in a series is just spectacular. And now that we get to see more episodes of Star Wars, everyone wins. Men get to see more of what happened in between the events, and women get a plus because there are strong female leads. Unlike Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, Forces of Destiny are definitively geared towards little kids. Additionally, since we are dealing with female characters, sometimes exclusively, there is less of an egalitarian feel and one more geared towards that of being feminine. And that's fine. That's great. But you can't get upset when men, who are not feminine, don't relate as easily and simply turn it off. Ultimately, the stories, at least up to date, don't seem to add anything substantial to the mythos. It is literally just this encounter or that encounter with not a lot going to understand what's happening in the bigger picture. Not necessarily bad unless you're a channel dedicated to lore, like someone we know. Clone Wars and Rebels add substantially, and even minor characters who would get barely more time than what you see on Forces of Destiny are able to do things that will impact the series and entire universe as a whole. But again, that's a personal critique. That's why I don't get into it as much. But my girls, they love it. They love this show. Just because I don't like it, it doesn't speak to me, doesn't mean that it doesn't speak to other people. And there are even men and women my age who I know love the series as well. And if you're wondering what the series is, that is it. I can give you a breakdown, but it would take as much to explain it as to watch it. The episodes are so short. So everything before this is just talking about what it is, why you may or may not like it. Now, there are two actual criticisms of the series overall to date, and I'll go ahead and give those. But if you take things personally, on either side of feminism, anti-feminism, politics, I would suggest turning it off now. Ultimately, I want to talk about lore, and that's the channel's focus. But if you're really curious, my two criticisms are this. The first is that the women empowerment factor. For those who don't know, a lot of people have used what is called the Bechdel test to criticize movies. I've always hated this test as it's completely arbitrary and doesn't account for many situations. Let's go ahead and define it. The Bechdel test evaluates a work of fiction on whether it is sexist or not by one standard. To pass the Bechdel test, a work must feature at least two women, and these women must talk to each other. The conversation must concern something other than a man. This is ludicrous because there are tons of solo characters. Get it? Solo. Solo characters in different movies where it's just a woman, and she is powerful as hell. But anyway, let's get back to the Bechdel test and Forces of Destiny. I think it's telling at how bad this test is when the first 6 episodes fail the Bechdel test. Maybe Padawan's Path can pass it, but they don't really have any conversations here at any point, in my opinion. But if we're willing to bend, then yes, Padawan's Path passes the Bechdel test, even though it's a woman who has to go to 2 men and has to do all the work and barely gets any accolades. Yeah, I know, I'm proud of you, Snips. I get it, blah, blah, blah. I honestly, I hate the Bechdel test. The episode is fine, and I think it still empowers Ahsoka, but anyway, we're getting off track. Honestly, this just shows the weakness of the Bechdel test. Forces of Destiny is a strong show for women, fails the Bechdel test. The other point is a little more serious for me. And it's more looking at the fans and proponents of Forces of Destiny than the actual series. You see, a lot of people, at least in my Twitter feed, were talking about how men should relax and how Forces of Destiny is for women because men had so many opportunities before. That's fair enough, and I don't necessarily disagree. I stated myself that I just wanted a good story. The gender of the character matters very little to me. It's why I love movies like The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and now Forces of Destiny. Their genders don't matter. However, fans of the series did take it a step farther, saying not to worry, that it's not an attack on men. And I personally don't think that the series is. But the fans have weaponized it, in my opinion. If women want men to better understand the plight of women and how they aren't represented, then they need to show men what it's like when men are represented wrong. They need to have empathy. And most fans simply don't. When this reinterpretation of Anakin came out, fans talked about how beautiful and fabulous he is and started talking about the makeup that he was using. It's ironic to me that those who were talking about how this wouldn't demean men pushed for something that culturally is known to demean men. Now, we can get into an argument on whether men should be able to wear makeup or not, but I think everyone can at least agree that currently wearing makeup for a lot of people would be demeaning to men. It just is. And if we want to change that, that's a discussion for a different time, but current cultural norms are what we're looking at. And sure, you can make the argument that this has been done to women for ages. So you would think a new movement that wanted to highlight but not demean men might be aware of that. Now that's just my opinion. It doesn't bug me all that much. It's just something that I noticed. And since Forces of Destiny will be watched because my children like it and because I enjoy watching Star Wars, I'm not really going to get too focused on the drawing. So I can only imagine that you're planning on not watching the channel anymore or lambasting me in the comments. And that's of course your choice. This is just me responding to a request to do a review of it. And that's my honest opinion. If you like it, that's great. And if you don't, that's okay too. I think that this has a firm place in Star Wars. What I want to get out that is if you take nothing from this, just understand, it's a series that has shorts that highlight strong women that show things that occur to them but aren't far-reaching or impacting. That's the series. The animation is fine if you like 2D, and it's highly enjoyable for young people and even people of my age. I personally don't see the appeal that I do in Clone Wars or Rebels, but some would say that they love this but don't like Clone Wars or Rebels, and that's fine. That's what's great about Star Wars. We don't have to agree. People from all stripes can like different parts of the content, of the universe. But if you do like it and you think I'm crazy, please let me know in the comments below. For the record, this was a requested video, but I won't be delving further into it. This is literally everything I have to say about the series to date, unless they do just something crazy with the lore. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this. If you want to see this video but with clips and not the stills that I use, go ahead and click the VidMe link below. VidMe is a different type of format that actually allows me to use the links under fair use versus, not using them. So definitely click, let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and comment. Let me know what you guys want me to do when it comes to lore. I honestly was on the fence on whether I was going to submit this video or post this video or not. I decided to go ahead and do it, so let me know if I went too far or if you think it's outside the scope of the channel. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I will see you on the next Lore Reloaded.